Hey guys, Beast here. This product is sort of a long review coming. Ever since I've been into survival and stuff like that, people always give me suggestions, including one of the videos Dave Canterbury did a couple years ago, where he actually cut himself and did an example of using this EMT gel, which is a veterinary gel for animals, to stop and heal wounds. Well, you're not going to see me cut myself on here. And I couldn't find any around Seattle. I even had a couple folks very graciously offer to send me some. I politely said, no thank you, I'll find it. I don't like ordering things off the internet, so that kind of put a kink in things. Even when I was home during the holidays here in Central Oregon, I figured, well, hell, I'll find it at a ranch supply. A lot of people hadn't even heard of this. I did find one place recently in Bend that carries it. They also have the spray. Adventure Canine went over here some of his first aid gear that he has found has worked over the years with all of his dogs, and this was one of his products. And I've actually had this for a while. Got it in Seattle. I ordered it off of Amazon. It was a pretty good price, and got it that way. I got 2 tubes. This is the second tube. The other one I packaged into Max's pack. But without, obviously cutting myself like Dave did, you really have to kind of wait to find an opportunity to use this. And sure enough, I have. The 2 recent ones that I've actually taken pictures of. So I'll give you this little graphic, images ahead. So please turn away, or any young kids looking. It's not horrific by any means, but I do have a couple pictures I'll insert. One of them, Max ripped his toenail down to the quick. Really just kind of split his nail apart. And part of that was last couple months in Seattle, there'd been very little activity. I was trying to keep him very mellow, especially with his leg. If I can't get him to the lake, I don't like to run him that much. Well, the property here, we have multiple terraced yards. So there's the house, there's the deck area, there's a lower lawn area, and then there's a field area. And they're separated by about 5-foot rock fences. Very volcanic rock, very sharp. And he was leaping from one to another up a terrace, and obviously he split his nail. He didn't seem to care. He was coming into the house, licking his foot. Then I realized it was bleeding all over the place. So use this on there. The other story and the other pictures that I'll show that help explain the pictures, it's been used about a half dozen times, but I only got 2 of them on pictures. And another one was, I walked by a bench seat out of our van that was laying over, and it had the hooks that fit into the feet that fit into the floor of the van, and it cut my leg pretty good. It was a pretty decent cut. Not one that would need stitches, but it's kind of in an awkward spot right across my tattoo. So immediately I thought, hey, I'm going to put this on there and find out how well it works on people. Max has used it several times. I will say it's sort of a sticky substance. It will form a decent crust over the wound, but you have to get the bleeding stopped first. This isn't like immediate wound care. This won't seal a wound from bleeding. And I think that was kind of originally, Dave had just put it originally right over his arm that he had scratched with his knife, and it started bleeding a little bit, and he just put it right over that. Well, that tiny little scratch, maybe not push it out, but if you cut yourself decent enough, this won't cure and harden quick enough to keep the wound from bleeding itself out. And so what I found on my leg is, when I put it on there, one, it was sort of difficult to get on there. It's a very kind of sticky mess, and it has a very distinct smell to it. And so if you don't like that smell, you won't enjoy using it. You can see I've used about half of the bottle. Obviously it wasn't completely packed full, but I've used it enough times to, I feel I can give you a good review finally on it. I will carry it in my larger first aid kit, but you won't see me as an emergency, sealing any wounds up or anything like that. I think it's a great wound management after the initial flushing of the wound, after the initial blood loss has been stopped. Once the wound has stopped bleeding and you've got it cleaned up, I think this is an adequate wound care system. On animals with the hair and the fur, it's a little weird. I did like the hard shell it kind of put on a wound he got on his upper leg, because it allowed him not to lick it once it hardened up. Now this will wear off and it gets a little brittle when it finally cures. It's not ever like a soft covering or anything. So once it kind of sets up, you'll find that even with my leg wound, I found that if it wanted to pull off, it wanted to pull the scab off a little bit. So more than likely, I will have a scar on that leg simply because it kept pulling the scabbing off. When it started getting dry and brittle, and if the edge got pulled up, then it ended up pulling the whole thing. So I do like it. I think Neosporin is equally as well working. For the price, for the size of bottle, it's probably a little bit cheaper than Neosporin. I think this was $8, but of course shipping, when you get shipping on anything on Amazon, which is part of the reason I hate ordering things off the internet, it really, the savings off the internet really is equal to something you'd buy locally, and I prefer to support people locally. So if you can find it, I think it's a cool thing to put in your kit. On his toe wound, once the bleeding got stopped, it did seem to work fairly well, but again, I still put a sock over it, duct tape the sock, and that prevents him from licking it and wearing it off initially. I ended up taking him into the vet for that wound, simply because it was really kind of iffy. I didn't want to, because it was a foot wound, I didn't want to get an infection, and that's very likely. And the vet agreed. It was borderline. He could have gone and done, a procedure where he went in and he lopped things off, and that would have been several $100s, but he agreed with me that as long as I kept it clean, we got him on a week of antibiotics, and I changed the dressing, he should be fine. And you know what? He was. And so really the only really vet visit, other than a painkiller, was 1 week full of amoxicillin. And if you're curious about dog stuff, of course the caveat is that's what he does, but go check out Adventure Canine, because I think he's got an excellent video about some of the things that he has found over the years that works for him. He's not telling you to go do this, but that's what works for him. And some of his things that he has in his kit are things that I didn't have in my kit. And so I will be ordering some more stuff off the internet, to my surprise. But it's a cool product. And he actually has this, I believe, that and the spray in his. I didn't get the spray because I actually have a sort of liquid bandage spray from 3M that's designed for pets. So I already had that at the time, but very cool product, but not perfect for everything. And so I'll give you the warning again. At the end of the video, I will include just several photos that I have of various wound care, and I think I only have actual photos of the two, Max's toe and my calf. So thanks for watching.